All right, let's look at lesson 7 of code. So now we're going to be doing the draw loop. So basically the draw loop is going to do an automatic repeat of everything within the loop. It's a loop, it just keeps going and going and going unless you tell it to stop somehow. This is what we're going to be using to actually be able to start animating and making our sprites move. So again, part 1, read through the overview here. We're going to look at the function draw and the world frame rate specifically. Continue on. Here is another video again to give you a good overview of what we're going to be doing. So make sure you watch that, and then on your Google Doc you do have a question. What does the draw function do? And I kind of just explained it to you, but see what else they have to say. Part 3. This one also has a question. So what does this look like, or does this look like the flip book you saw in the video? Why or why not? So here's an example of the draw loop. Run the code, see how it works. And so you can see we're having just a whole bunch of green dots. So we don't have a partner, so that's why you're going to answer this question on the Google Doc. Does it look like the flip book? Okay, part 4. Again, read through this. So you can see when we were doing it, running the last program, we're just getting a whole bunch of green circles because we have the ellipse setting at random numbers. So it's just repeating, putting a circle here, putting a circle here, circle here, circle here, circle here. So it just keeps adding on to what we have. So read through that, see if you can get some other bits of information. All right, part 5. Now it's your turn to do some work with the draw loop. Remember that the code inside the draw loop is run by GameLab over and over again. Add code to the program so that your drawing has orange circles being drawn too. So we need to add code. Move on when your program looks like the picture to the right. So right now when we run it, it should look like what it just looked like. We have a whole bunch of green ellipses being placed all over them. So next we're going to have to add more ellipses. And these ones are going to be orange. Oh, didn't quite get that. Fill color is going to change that to orange. And then in order to get the orange circles anywhere on the screen, we're going to have to do the random numbers like the green one does. So that's under math. I need a random number for my X. I need a random number for my Y. And let's make these smaller while we're at it, because 400 is going to go all the way across. So I'm going to do the same random numbers, 0 to 400, because I will go all the way across the screen. Set and run. And now it should be alternating between green circle, orange circle, orange circle, and it's going to keep doing that until you end the program. All right, so that's for that one. Number 6. Okay, this program has one small difference that will make it run a little differently. Again, though, remember, all your code outside the draw loop is run first one time. So the world frame rate, the background, and the fill have already been done. So what is this program going to do? So write your prediction below. So I'm not going to run this one. There is a question. So after you do run it, how did your prediction compare to the results when you ran the program? So run it, or do your prediction, run it, and then let me know what your prediction was compared to it. Okay, moving on. Number 7. This lesson's a little bit shorter than the last one. All right, sprites in the draw loop. By changing sprite properties in the draw loop, you can animate your characters. This animation has also been slowed down. At the beginning of the program, the world frame rate block has been used to set the frame rate to 10. Usually the frame rate is 30. So it automatically sets to 30. So if you want it to be slower, it needs to be less than 30. If you want it to be faster, it would need to be more than 30. Feel free to explore different frame rates. Okay, run the code to see how it works. Discuss with your partner why some code is inside the draw loop and some code is outside. So again, we have some questions here. What do you think the sprite creation was outside the draw loop while everything else was inside? Keep thinking again, what happens inside that draw loop, that function draw? And try changing the frame rate and running the code again. So if we do the regular 30, You can see he's moving a whole lot faster. I think that's your next question. So what does changing the world frame rate do? Okay, so no coding you have to actually do on that one either. Moving on. Continue, number 8. More information, sprite properties. Sprite X, what is X? Remember, that's your horizontal. Y is your vertical. Rotation, just like it sounds like, it's moving in a circle, either direction. Scale, we've already kind of dealt with the kite, is how big it is. And sprite visible, okay? Either a sprite is visible or it's not visible, true or false. Okay, so we'll be using these to help make our sprites move. And those are all under the Sprite tab. So read through that for a little bit more detail. Number 9, sprites have properties that let the computer know where and how to draw them. 2 common properties to use are Sprite X and Sprite Y, which control the location of the sprite. Assign these properties a new value will move your sprite to a new location on the screen. So this animation is updating one sprite's X property to make it look like it's shaking. So we run, you can see the pencil is shaking here. So edit the code in this program to make the second sprite shake like the first one. Move on when your program looks like the picture on the right. All right, so we have our pencil down here in the draw loop. Pencil.x equals random number. So right now we have brush.x equals 300. We don't want it just to be sitting still. We want it to be moving. So again, we're going to bring in that random number from our math. So instead of 300, now, if the random number for the pencil is at 100, if I did the same thing, it's going to be right on top of the pencil. So it started at 300, so let's put that as our first random number. And there's only a difference of 10 between the 100 and the 110. So I'm going to do 310, reset, and run, and now we should have them both moving. So that's what we're trying to get for on that one. Okay, number 10, updating properties. This level is very similar to last, but this time you'll add in a draw loop yourself. So add the draw loop block to the bottom of this program. All right, here it is under world, function draw to the bottom. Move any blocks that need to be inside the draw loop. Okay, so world frame rate, that's standard. You need to set it once, then you go. We're not going to be changing that. Same thing, our variable is set and it looks like salt, so we do not need those changing. What we do need is the background. You have to think, you have to draw your background. So you noticed when we had a whole bunch of dots, we did not have a background. So we have to have that background in our draw loop. Our changing of our salt Y value needs to be in the draw loop, and we have to redraw the sprite every time. So you can drag those in individually, or you can use your mouse and select multiple blocks at the same time and draw them into the loop, or drag them into the loop. That way you only have to drag it once and can keep them in order. So if we run it, we should get our salt shaker moving. Okay, almost done. Number 11. Okay, this level combines some of the skills you've already seen. It's drawing ellipses in the background and also updating sprite properties. This time it's changing the sprite's rotation properties, so it's going to be turning. So you can kind of see how they're wiggling over here. Do this. This animation already is updating one sprite's rotation property to make it look like it's shaking. Run the program, see how it works. Okay, so our green alien is moving. Add code to this program to make the other aliens shake just like the first. And then move on when we have it. All right, so you can see in our draw loop, our green aliens rotation equals random number -5, 5. Excuse me. So with rotation, 0 is straight up. If you want to go one direction is negative, the other direction is going to be positive. So let's reset that. Let's go to our sprites, and we have a sprite.rotation. And what's the name of our other alien? It's up here, pink alien. Again, make sure you type it exactly how it is written up above, otherwise the code's not, or the program's not going to understand what you are referring to. And math, random number. Since we're dealing with rotation and not position, we can keep our random numbers the same. So -5, 5 will make them look pretty similar, and now they're both doing a little dance. moving on to the last one. So this one is your assessment for the lesson. We're going to be continuing to use this later on. So actually this is the sprite scene that we made in the last lesson. You'll now be updating it a little bit to use the draw loop and sprite properties. So there they are. And I believe I have a link down here to my final one. So let's take a look at that real quick. So I've got my left wave and my right wave are going up and down, where I have my boy in the middle is rotation. So we're going to have to add that draw loop. So add the draw loop to your program. And you only ever have one draw loop because it's not going to move on to the next one. All right, so everything with your background is going to have to go into that draw loop. So let's drag all of that down. Otherwise, you're just going to get a whole bunch of your sprites moving across like we did with the dots. Okay, so my sprite, let's see, Y is going to be our up and down. So let's put that, and I have left and right will be up and down. So left sprite, our left dot Y, and again, we're going to put in that random number. Okay, let's do, the Y is set at 300, so we'll keep it around 300. So I'll do 290 to 310. Don't want to make it too big. All right, next one is another Y. So this will be right. Add a random number. We'll keep that the same because that's the same Y. Let's see how they're looking. There they're going. Oh, so you can see one was moving small. I changed that a little bit. There we go. Now they're moving a little bit more. Didn't have the right number in. All right. And then my boy was a rotation. So I'm going to bring in my sprite rotation. And that is called middle. Back to my math random number. Let's make it similar to what we did with the aliens. -5 to 5. Because I'll show you, if you just do like 0 to 5, he's going to be lopsided. He's kind of a little bit on the lopsided. So let's keep that -5 so we keep him centered. And there he is. Okay, so you're going to take your scene and animate at least one of your sprites that you put in there and see what you can do with it. All right, we will talk to you later.